Hello. Good morning, everybody. It is Jillian. Today is beautiful Thursday, and I, hold on a second, and I am doing a transmission and feeling great on this beautiful Thursday. So, anyways, yeah, got distracted. I get distracted because I hear noises in the background, and my husband went up and down the stairs, and I remember this author. What was it? He did The Snows of Kilimanjaro, and he was a tiger in the Chinese horoscopes. And I heard that he had a hard time focusing when he was around distractions. So there are personality types that need to have like their own space with nobody coming at them or walking up and down around them or distracting them from their thought process because they are very easily distracted and they don't like to have an audience or whatever. So I kind of feel like, that's me sometimes. But anyways, yesterday I did a video that I totally went off on somebody. And yeah, I know not everybody likes me going off on people, but here's the thing. I have people that either will constantly comment and they're always commenting really supportive stuff. They understand the protocol and they don't discriminate on the posts that they comment on. And I have people that watch me all the time and then they pick and choose the posts that they comment. And I usually see a pattern with what they pick and choose. And it's usually having to do with something that they could spin as a conspiracy. And so when I go off on people, it's because I know they've been on my Facebook for a while. They've been watching me, but they pick and choose the ones that are the posts that they could promote their agenda in an indirect way. And so that's kind of my vetting process is that if you are very discriminatory in your comments on my Facebook and I see the angle that you're coming from, even though it's not totally like said in so many words, but I see your angle, I'm going to really call you on your shit. And that's just why I act the way I do, because I know when someone's understanding my information. I know when somebody is picking and choosing the post that they want to comment on because they have a different agenda, even though they're not readily actually saying it. And I know it seems very trivial, but I'm trying to keep my Facebook very pure, my group very pure, and my business page very, very pure, because it needs to have only pure information with nobody adding their spice to it. It's like just Jilly Juice perspective, and that's it. Now, I did allow one person, and I'm fine with it. Very rare do I have really, really old friends or people that have known me for a long ass time, because I'm like all over the place. I've moved past a lot of different spaces in my life. Like I have people in my life or people on my Facebook that I don't really talk to, but they're like old high school friends. And they have people that they've talked to in high school, junior high, grade school, and they've kept in touch and they're hanging out and circulating. And I haven't done that. I've moved past a lot of my old junior high and high school friends and elementary school friends. So we see each other peripherally. When one comments and they may have a different point of view, but they keep it relatively respectful, I really cherish that, because I don't have a lot of people in my life where I really interact with that I've known forever. And so for me, that's a gift to have somebody on my Facebook that is taking an interest a little bit that I've known for a really long ass time. So I will, give them that latitude more than others. And maybe it's being inconsistent, but they keep it relatively respectful. So, anyways, I don't know why people are tagging me in this shit about Dr. Sebi, but I'm going to say, okay, so they're saying mucus is the cause of every disease. No, mucus is not the cause of every disease. So I'm going to set this person straight. It's Anita Adele Francis. The whole thing with antibodies, okay? Antibodies are, here's the thing. People say that mucus and antibodies cause, no, you know what causes disease? It's the imbalances in all of your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. It is the imbalances in your microbiome, imbalances in your biochemistry. And when you have imbalances, it's because of malnutrition. Why do you have malnutrition? Because you have predispositions that have been passed down for years and years and years. And then antibodies, which are a balancing force. They balance out the good, because everything that comes into your body is good. You are in an environment that is good. Everything is good in the environment. 5G is not bad. Chemtrails are not bad. Vaccines aren't bad. Monsanto and processed food is not bad, because there is a nutritional benefit and there is an environmental microbiome benefit to the body. Now, where it becomes poisonous and toxic is when you have an imbalance in your body where it cannot release the excess. So the mucus is the body's indicator to be able to release the excess, and you should be able to expel it on a daily basis, or as when your body accumulates the antibodies because you have such an exposure to, let's say you're around a bunch of people with the coronavirus and you've never been exposed to it. That viral exposure could be very, very rapid based upon your experience with it. And if you don't have very much experience with the coronavirus, you'll have rapid antibody accumulation, and some people will do a bunch of sneezes. Some people will have diarrhea. Some people will throw up. Okay, so when you are exposed to a lot of antigen, and which then turns into antibodies, the body has to release it. And that's also with the J juice, is when your body is harboring so much antigen, but it's harboring it and it's kind of sequestering it in different places of the body, trying to separate it from the vital organs or store it in your lymph nodes. And then when you do the J juice, the body then energizes, or the J juice energizes the body to then release those antibodies, and it comes out in mucus, it comes out in poop, pee, throw up, diarrhea, or waterfalls, whatever you want to call it. They're not the same thing, but people will characterize it because the mechanisms may seem very similar. So your body has a way of expelling the excess, but when people have stagnation in their lymph nodes and their digestive system, and they're storing poisons in their body, which is imbalances, when you actually finally energize the body and then you repair the damage at the cellular level, then you will start seeing your body balance out and regenerate and get younger. So this thing with Dr. Sebi, someone just tagged me in it. He died from too much herbal exposure. He died from too many freaking antibodies. You know why? Because he did not regenerate cells at the micro level. And he was harboring pathogens and toxins because he had stagnation. That's why when he was alive, he has a gray beard, he was bald, all of that. So I don't find Dr. Sebi really as a credible anything, because of the fact that he's taken science and spun it to then promote his cures for AIDS, and his cures and his diets and his demonization of a lot of things. Now, like anything in science or anything in the holistic allopathic world, it is the truth mixed with intentions and propaganda and politics. And so I'm trying to take the politics out of science. I'm just trying to keep it straight science, and then have you choose. Do you want to end up like Dr. Sebi, where he ended up dying? Oh, he got committed suicide. Or not committed. He was shot, or someone said, right? No. Look at him before he passed away. He is aging. Do you want to end up like Dr. Sebi, where you're aging and degrading, trying to live on cures? Okay? And so this is why I also was going off yesterday on somebody, because the feds are now categorizing every single death as a COVID-19 death. And people are like, oh yeah, the numbers are skewed. They're going to be higher than most because they're now categorizing every single death as a COVID-19. So instead of dying from pneumonia and heart attack and strokes and aneurysms and all this, whatever it is they categorize as somebody dying from something, they now categorize as COVID-19. And that actually is technically correct, because like I said before, if you look at all people that had heart attacks back in September or even back in February, before they were testing for the coronavirus, if you actually did a titer test, on the most prevalent antibody that was in the body at that time they got a heart attack, and they knew that there was a major virus that was in the area, and they actually tested for it, that would actually technically be the cause of death. Because we've been exposed to flus, we've been exposed to herpes or HPV, and when they mention, well, we have a flu death. The reason why I say that people have flu deaths, because they know that the flu virus was the most aggressive virus at the time that they got sick. And so that's how they say, yes, she died from the flu. But, but when an older person in flu season dies, they may categorize as a heart attack or a stroke, or they have predispositions. Well, hey, you wouldn't have your predispositions be triggered if it wasn't for some catalyst. And that is an aggressive part of your microbiome, or an aggressive element in the environment that the body could not balance out correctly. So the medical community has not been consistent in how they have taught you guys about death, what they write on death certificates, and what really is the cause of death in everybody. It's like there's so much, the Tower of Babel, so much conflicting information, or different layers of what causes a death. So, they died of a heart attack. Oh, they died of a stroke. Oh, they died of pancreatic cancer. No, all these symptoms, strokes and aneurysms and cancer and pneumonia and bronchitis, are all just symptoms of the body trying to adjust itself. And then the cause of death is when there's so many antibodies, and the vital organs cannot function anymore because of the amount of antibodies that accumulate. Now you could say, well, yeah, mucus. But here's the thing. When Dr. Steve says mucus is the cause of every disease, eliminate mucus and you limit the disease, do you know what people do when they see that kind of statement from Dr. Sebi? They will go and take a mucus drying element or a mucus drying substance or protocol like Mucinex and try to dry up the mucus, try to stop the mucus. And then guess what? Those antibodies are in the mucus are still in the body. And then it causes more imbalances, and it chips away at your predispositions, and your vital organs have sustained some kind of damage over your time of implementing the wrong chemistry to your body, to eventually where it does shut down. The vital organs do shut down. So I don't want anybody tagging me in Dr. Sebi stuff. I don't want anybody tagging me in anybody that's a guru in the holistic allopathic world, because we have graduated from that line of thought. Okay? So now every single death, since now we know that coronavirus exists, it is a very aggressive virus that I have actually been fighting myself. And I'm probably healthier than all of you because I've been on the Jilly Juice for at least 4 years. But I will always be adjusting to my environment. The environment was not very aggressive the last couple years at all since I've been on the J Juice. I think the last time I really got sick from the flu was back when I was on Dr. Phil after I got off like 8 different airplanes back in March of 2018. Okay, and I think I was sick for a month, but everybody else was like sick for months and months and months with a major cough. And then after that, after being on the juice, even after 2018, then I started, then I noticed that I wasn't reacting to the flu, even though it still came around every fall and people were still dealing with it throughout the whole winter and then spring. It never affected me because my body was able to adjust to the flu viruses that were even being mutated, because every single flu season, the flu virus mutates, but it wasn't a very aggressive mutation. However, this coronavirus is a very aggressive virus, very aggressive. And so my body is like the canary in the coal mine, and it's able to detect how aggressive this virus is, which means that it's going to be the catalyst for every single death. So anyone that's had a heart attack since, I would say, September, anyone dying of a stroke, because there were people that in my husband's work that died of an aneurysm in his truck. And he's been dealing with, brain issues or pressure or headaches. Okay. And so he was the first one like a September, October. And then I had somebody I know when I was in grade school who died from complications of pancreatic cancer. I mean, it was like November, September, October, November, December, he died over the fall. So when you look at when actually, because they're saying in California, the coronavirus actually has been around since the fall. Maybe now if we actually went in and tested everyone that died back in the fall and did a titer test, you would see the most prominent virus, how many antibodies, if you did a titer test, were most prevalent that would trigger someone to die from complications of cancer, okay? Or of, they die from a stroke. Because when you die from a stroke and you die from a heart attack, it means that you do not have enough of what it took as far as nutrients and minerals to carry you another day. Because every single symptom that you get, because based on predispositions, means you have weaknesses that you were never resolved, that every single predisposition is the body trying to heal by stealing resources from the bones, hair, skin, and nails, and trying to patch you up. And if it's stealing reserves that are not there or not very complete, and then the body will still go through its mechanisms, but it won't have enough oomph to carry the blood to your heart, into your lungs, or into your brain. And that's when people die from heart attacks and strokes. So that lady on Dr. Phil that was trying to slam me for saying I gave her a heart attack, she already had predispositions. The fact that she was able to get on Dr. Phil and bitch about me was a testament to the fact that my juice probably saved her life. My juice probably gave her enough minerals to get on freaking Dr. Phil and deal with the stress of being in the media, of probably having everybody and their mother talk to her. Because imagine if you are a stroke or a heart attack victim, or you have so many predispositions, and if you're that sick, taking in the stress of Dr. Phil and everybody, all my trolls going and saying, hey, this is how you can get Jillian. And she's probably on the phone with so many different people, probably didn't sleep a wink, was probably being interviewed up the yin yang. She had so much energy to go up against me on Dr. Phil. My juice gave her that fucking energy. Okay. But when someone doesn't survive a heart attack and stroke, it means that the body still is going through its mechanisms of trying to keep you alive, and you don't have enough of what it takes. Your reserves have been depleted. And that's why the whole Jilly Juice is so revolutionary, is because now you're able to see what symptoms are and why they're your friend, not your enemy. But you better be supporting your body correctly. Because if you have predispositions like heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, brain issues, all of that stuff, and you're still doing your same old stuff, and you're applying the wrong chemistry to your body on a continuous basis, that next event from your predispositions, you may not survive. Okay? And so this is why I do what I do, is because I know all of you have many freaking predispositions. All of you do. And most likely with this new environment, you will not survive the next event. I mean, look, you're seeing your friends and family drop like flies, whether they're getting an extreme diagnosis or their cancer and disease is becoming worse. Now you're seeing that you have to make a choice of doing chemotherapy or applying, or not doing chemotherapy, because you know that if you do chemotherapy, you're going to lower the immune system to which the virus is going to go and cause more harm to you because you have weaknesses. That's what these oncologists are faced with. That's what these chemotherapy patients are faced with. Get chemotherapy and be a sitting duck, or not get chemotherapy and die from cancer. That's the thing. When you are working with the two evils and you're trying to pick the lesser between the two evils, you've backed your ass into a corner. And that's exactly what all of the conspiracy world is. That's exactly what all the anti-vaxxers are doing. That's exactly what all of these alternative remedy people who are promoting to these cancer victims. They are backing them into a corner to where they have to make these choices of either not getting the therapy or getting the therapy. And either way, they're fucked. Excuse my language. Okay. And so the only way you can get yourself out of that corner is now you have to face your predisposition. Now you have to face the pain. You have to face the fact that you now have to deal with every single thing that you've been trying to suppress through drugs, alcohol, sex, and all of that. And that's a hard thing to do for some people. So, so now every single death that happens out there, it's because, yes, we have the most aggressive virus out there that is mutating on a continuous basis. And it's going to be the catalyst for every single diagnosis you will ever have. And either you understand that you can fight these viruses by strengthening your body with the right chemistry, or you continuously inhibit cell replication at the micro level to where eventually it's going to translate to your vital organs and you will not survive a major event like a heart attack, stroke, bronchitis, pneumonia, all of that. Okay? So, I don't want anybody tagging me in anything with somebody in the holistic world, especially not Dr. Sebi. He's not even a fucking doctor. And that's the whole irony of it all, is that Bill Gates, who's a major vaccine proponent, it's not even a doctor. And so now these anti-vaxxers who hate Bill Gates are like, oh, he's not even a doctor. We should arrest him for practicing medicine without a license. And so what, they're going to go see a doctor now? All you anti-vaxxers, are you anti-Bill Gates people? Are you going to go see a doctor now? Is that your hue and cry? Now doctors all of a sudden are relevant? See, that's the hypocrisy of people who take an extreme side on something. That's the hypocrisy we deal with. Now you have to understand straight science, take foundational concepts that everybody has access to, which is the National Institute of Health, which is Medical News Today, which is PubMed. Take academia's foundational concepts, not the spin, not the remedies, not the cures, not all their fucking solutions, but take the foundational concepts. What is an antibody? What is a protein? What is microbiome? What's the nutritive benefit of this, and this? What's an antibody? Okay, take those concepts, understand what those are, and understand the difference between somebody's solution and somebody's concept. And when you have somebody's solution, you better understand what that solution is and see that there is propaganda behind every single freaking solution out there in the holistic world as well as the allopathic world. And money is the catalyst. Money is the catalyst. So if you are selling MLMs and you are all promoting, the cures, and you're promoting a doctor or you're promoting a conspiracy theorist who makes a shit ton of money on his podcasts and his books and their anti-government stances, then you are being snowed up the yin yang by people who serve to make so much money off the ignorance of people who are desperate. People are like, well, you do the same thing, Jillian. No, I don't. Actually, my recipe is for free. My videos are all over the freaking internet. I don't keep this information to myself. I demonize nobody except somebody that promotes death. Because now, yes, you have to take a side, life or death. There isn't no taking a side of like, oh, Bill Gates or not Bill Gates. No, it's life or death. Either follow the laws of life or you follow the laws of death, and that's it. It's pretty black and white. Now, the gray area is how do you transition from the death process to the life process? Because no one's going to get off their drugs and their alcohol and their sex cold turkey unless they are that strong enough to do it. So now is a transition. But it's still, are you transitioning from a life trajectory to a death trajectory, which doesn't make sense? Or are you transitioning from a death trajectory, a death process, a death protocol to a life one? But you have to understand the laws, the chemistry, and the concepts. And you have to stop, taking a side against anything out there as far as elements, people, and microbiome. When you're taking anti-parasitics, antifungals, antimicrobials, antibacterias, anti-whatever, anti-inflammatories, antibiotics, you're taking any of those things, you are actually taking things that are anti-you because you are made up of everything that's in the microbiome, which is viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, bacteria, fungus. And if you're taking anything that's, that's antibiotic, anti-life, and then you create antibodies, that are really, it's the body's own self-destruct system to go after an imbalance in the body. That's what antibodies are. It's where the body produces these proteins that go after anything that will cause more imbalances. But when you don't have a very strong, energized immune system, then guess what? You're going to be accumulating antibodies that are going to agglutinate and then cause destruction to your vital organs. So it is very correct what the feds are doing as far as recategorizing deaths. Every death now from this point forward is going to be from the coronavirus. Every single death, every single diagnosis, every single event is from the coronavirus. It's not from salt. It's not from anything else, but the fact that you have major predispositions, you're not taking care of your body, you're applying the wrong chemistry to it, and you're exposed to a freaking virus your body is not used to. Guess what? That's a recipe for a disaster for most of you, if not all of you. That's why we're in quarantine, because 99.999% all of you are so messed up that you can't afford to be exposed to this virus. As far as the condensed version, which is so many people in one room that have the virus, you cannot afford that major viral load. Now, the reason why we get immunities created is because of either a vaccine that gives you a weaker version of it, or you're under quarantine and maybe you're exposed to one or two people that have it. So you might get slight exposure, which might get, if your body is that strong, you may feel a change in your body, but you're able to handle it. But if you're fucking weak, and you're exposed to somebody who has it, it's going to do major damage. If you're really weak and you go into a crowd of people who have it and you're taking in all of their shedding, then yeah, you're going to be on a ventilator pretty soon, if not sooner or later, whatever. You will be on a ventilator at some point. So that's why they have everybody on quarantines, because that's, in a way, creating immunity for those that are relatively okay. They can handle a little bit of exposure, but not too much. No different than a vaccine. Okay? But we have people who are so sick, but not so sick enough where they couldn't get a vaccine, but they're sick enough where they couldn't afford to go out there like we've been doing. Okay? And they're somewhere in that middle. And do you know where the hell you are? Are you going to keep rolling the dice? Well, I'll tell you what, Darwinism is a beautiful thing. Darwinism will weed out the idiots, weed out the imbalanced, weed out the weak. But that's Mother Nature's way of balancing out our 7 billion population. See, I used to think that, we weren't overpopulated. All life is beautiful. Yeah, all life is beautiful. However, when there is life that wants to constantly destroy other people and constantly destroy things, then it's not really a life. It's a very imbalanced, and then it becomes a war, a fight. And when you're constantly fighting all the time, you're fighting Democrats, fighting Republicans, fighting this person, that person, fighting yourself, then quality of life is now in question. Now you're like, okay, now, yeah, you have life, but is your quality of life really that? So now with this coronavirus, Mother Nature is going to take out the weak, take out the ones that are not adapting. So that way those that are strong enough can have a quality life. That's what it's coming down to. So either you teach it to yourself, this thing with the jelly juice, you teach it to your kids so they can have a quality life, or you'll forever be fighting something or somebody until you have nothing left. And I'm sure some of you are very tired of fighting the battles out there that don't give you any return on your investment. But hey, some of you are born fighters that will fight everything with no return on your investment. Those are bad investments when you fight something where you're not getting any return. I have fights, but I get a major return on my investment, and I pick and choose my battles. I don't fight every battle that comes my way. Now, I did in the beginning, but at this point now, with me being now, my 4th year, I don't fight every battle that comes my way because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I value my peace. I value my adaptation. I value myself, my soul. I value that. And hopefully those of you that are doing the J juice will eventually come to that point where you value your peace, you value your future, where you want to learn something new, And I see that a lot of you are learning something new, that are doing the J juice. You are fighting the battles within. You're ceasing to fight the battles out there. It's like, you got to choose your battles wisely, because you don't have enough of you really to be fighting everything, and you're not actively regenerating more than you're degrading. And that's really the point of Jilly Juice, is, are you taking in and absorbing the nutrients more than you are releasing? And that is the second law of thermodynamics, is where you're not wasting energy, where there's not more of the good going out than you're absorbing. Okay. The first law of thermodynamics is that energy can never be created or destroyed. It just can be converted. So you can take all the energy out there and convert it to something that's going to benefit you. And sometimes taking yourself out of the wars out there is also converting energy. Okay? So if you don't have the balance within your body, mind, and spirit, and you're fighting a war out there, then you're just adding to the war, because you have nothing really substantial that's going to convert it to the right thing to work for you and for humanity. Okay? So, physics, science, all of that, religion, politics, all of that are all interconnected. And so you have to understand that science is the foundation, which then influences how your politics and how your religion manifest. And you see those that in their religions very imbalanced. And then you see very balanced religious people. You see very balanced political people. And then you see very imbalanced political people. Right? Because science is the determining factor of how your religion and how your politics manifest. And just watch those around you that are on these constant anti-5G fights, constant anti-vax fights, constant anti-Monsanto, anti-Bill Gates fights. Those are the ones that have applied the wrong science to their body. And now it's manifesting in death and chaos. And so either you take part in that and you die with them, which is really not your intention, or you recognize for what that is and you take yourself out of that war and you start building and regenerating from within. Because if you don't take care of yourself inside, you can't take care of anybody else or fight anybody else's battles, because you haven't fought the most important battle, which is the battle within you. All right, I got to go, but you guys do your thing. Have a good day. Bye.